Hi, welcome back to POD, Philippines on Demand. And what's new in Davao? Well, don't go away. We're going to bring you up to date.
Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte and Vice Mayor Sebastian Duterte withdrew their certificates of candidacy for mayor and vice mayor, respectively. Although unconfirmed, it does appear things are shaping up for Sebastian Duterte to run for Davao City Mayor. Meanwhile, Sara Duterte could possibly be setting herself up for a run at the presidency or vice presidency of the Philippines. Speculation has it she could be aligning herself with Ferdinand Marcos Jr. They were reportedly meeting in Cebu earlier in the year.
Well, as you heard, things are starting to loosen up in the Philippines. The Philippines should be open to tourism around December 1st or the beginning of the year. However, that is speculation at this point. It has not yet been confirmed. According to Executive Order number 63 of Series 2021, lifting of the use of motorcycle barriers between passenger and driver, and also barriers in the jeepneys and other public utility vehicle barriers. However, keep in mind, drivers and operators must implement the mandatory wearing of face masks and physical distancing in their units. Now, here is something that's confusing for some of the drivers, as well as the passengers as well. It has been reported that when the barriers came down, that gave the drivers pretty much the understanding that they can fill their Jeeps according to their Jeep capacity. Well, according to Executive Order 63, that's not true. Capacity is only 50%, even 70% in some regions, depending on where you are. So it is up to the driver and the operators to make sure that they're running their vehicles at about 50 to 70% capacity, depending on their location. So it behooves of them to study their local ordinance. The CTTMO warned drivers of PUVs they will be slapped with a 500 peso penalty if the numbers of the passengers is more than allowed according to the executive order, which as present, as I said, is 50 to 70% depending on their location. Violators of physical distancing will also be fined 5,000 pesos. This despite lifting of the barriers per the executive order. So basically the bottom line is this. Even though the mayor lightened up the restriction as far as having dividers on the jeepneys, the drivers still have to make sure that the passengers are adhering to physical distancing on the Jeeps. They cannot scrunch them in like they used to. They still have to follow the physical distancing. Now, there are some Jeeps that did not remove the barriers in their jeepneys, which, if you ask this guy, I think that was pretty smart. According to Executive Order 51-A of the Series 2021, the face shields, they must be worn in crowded areas, such as swab sites, vaccination sites, evacuation sites, distribution centers of assistance, and the Kamalek voters registration areas. So they have to have their face shields on in close quarters. Now the face shields have been lifted in the malls, in restaurants, and I can see with the jeepneys going by that there are a lot of passengers not wearing the face shields. Because why? It does not list it as close quarters. Close quarters were what I just read to you. So as you can see by the look in, you can see that some of the passengers are still adhering to the physical distancing. In other Davao City news, Davao Mayor Sara Duterte said the city government is gearing towards lifting the RT-PCR test for air travelers. It is being discussed by the COVID-19 Davao Task Force. However, until confirmed, all passengers who arrive to Davao International Airport must submit to the test according to the Ordinance 0477-1 of Series 2021. Finally, the C19 positive rate has been consistently below 10% for the past week. Davao's risk classification is now listed as low risk. It has been reported that 64% of Davaoenos have been vaccinated. However, Tacunan has the most cases with 32 for the past 3 to 4 weeks. Well, thank you for coming along. That's a wrap on POD Philippines on Demand. Catch you next time. We're here.